Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today's gonna be a personal but informative video, but I know it's gonna help a lot of you out there. Now I'm going to share with you this frustrating and expensive mistake that happened around the time my first son was born. Now this is something that started off as a small clerical error but turned into a legal financial nightmare. This could ultimately delay my son's US citizenship recognition for about 1 to 2 years. So stick around, because if you're a foreigner planning to live or have a family in the Philippines, this could easily happen to you if you're not careful. So whether you guys been watching my videos or you're new here, thank you guys for stopping by. Could have been anywhere else on YouTube, but you chose this channel. So with that, I'm really grateful. If you find any value in any of my content, hit the subscribe button, like and share this video with somebody that you think should hear about this. I want to give a big shout out to Scott Rosen for the $5 donation through Buy Me a Coffee link in the description below. I appreciate the support. Any donations will go to contributing to making my channel better, whether that be buying a new microphone, getting the new setup, or even a new camera. So thank you very much, Scott, for the generous gesture. And with that, let's get into the video. So let me take you back to when my first son was born here in the Philippines. Other than the excitement of being a first-time parent, my wife did go through some complications in the operating room, so things were a bit stressful. But as part of the process, we have to deal with paperwork at the civil register's office. And if you've been here for a while, you already know the bureaucracy in this country can be like molasses. It could be slow, repetitive, and loaded with hidden obstacles. So while I was at the register's office, I had a casual little chit-chat with a lady handling the paperwork. And just like everyone you encounter here, mostly they're going to be friendly and ask you questions. So she did ask me where I was from, and I told her that I'm American. I'm from the US. And she smiled, and a lot of people ask me the same questions like, are you half? And that's exactly what she asked me. But I clarified with her and I said, no, my nationality is American, but my ethnicity is Spanish. Now, that's where the confusion started. I didn't think nothing of it, and I didn't think she would be confused about that. But a few days later, when my wife went back to finalize the birth certificate, we discovered something that made both of our hearts sink into our chests. On the official birth certificate, it said that my nationality was Spanish instead of American. Let me repeat myself. My son's legal document in the Philippines said that his father is a Spanish citizen, not an American. At first, it just seemed like a silly mistake, and we figured it could get corrected pretty easily. But we were wrong, and we were dead wrong. And that's where, unfortunately, the nightmare began. You see, when we went to apply for my son's CRBA, the consular report of birth abroad at the US Embassy, we hit a massive wall. You see, the US Embassy takes documents very seriously. And if the Philippines birth certificate says the father is Spanish, guess what? That's what they'll go with. And it doesn't matter what passport I'm holding. So with that one clerical error, we couldn't proceed with my son's CRBA. And without that, he couldn't get his US citizenship recognized from birth. That meant that we had to start an entirely different process, a judicial correction of the birth certificate. Now, if you've been here and dealt with judicial corrections, drop a comment down below, especially if you're Filipino. Maybe you can help me out. You know some lawyers, because I'm still currently in this situation now. But this process is not going to be fun if you deal with it. It's going to be stressful and it's not fast. You have to go through the courts, and I mean like the actual courts. You have to hire a lawyer and file a petition, wait for a hearing date, and then wait some more. All of this just to fix a single word, letter on a birth certificate. And here is the real kicker, guys. It's going to cost me nearly 100,000 pesos. That's over $1,700. But to make things worse, the whole process could take 6 to 8 months, possibly even longer, depending on the backlog and whether or not any paperwork gets lost. Which, let's be honest, it's happened to me before, and I'm sure it's happened to people out there. It just happens. Because of this delay, my son might not get his US citizenship recognized until he's about 5 or 6 years old. That's about 1 to 2 years from now. So why does this matter for you? And maybe you might be thinking, well, that's just bad luck, right? No, this is quite common. Bureaucratic errors happen here all the time, especially given the fact that they're not experienced with foreign nationals and foreign laws. So I'll give you some advice for you guys planning to live here, get married, or start a family in the Philippines. You gotta double check or even triple check the details. Don't assume that it's going to be right just because they explained it clearly. Ask to see the copy of the birth certificate before finalizing anything. And always remember, once a document is registered here, changing it is a nightmare. Oftentimes you have to go to the courts. So why is the bureaucracy slow in this country to begin with? You see, the reason this stuff could be such a headache here is because the bureaucracy is still largely paper-based. Digital systems aren't fully connected between agencies. There's tons of redundancy and very little accountability. One government office doesn't always talk to another. And if you're used to things being streamlined like in the US, Australia, and Europe, just forget it, because here's a different ballpark. And unfortunately, many of the clerks and staff, while well-meaning and they don't mean to do this, they aren't trained to handle with foreign nationals, or they don't know international laws. So misunderstanding you could be a common occurrence here, which could create a huge confusion. So what do you guys need to know before moving here or living here long terms in the Philippines? If you're starting a family here, these are the tips that I want to give you to save your life. Make sure you have a Filipino partner that is detail-oriented. Now, my wife is super detail-oriented and responsible, but being that she was in the hospital recovering from almost dying in there, including my son, but luckily my wife caught this mistake earlier. If she hadn't gone back to follow up, who knows what we would have found out later. Stay involved in the early document process. Don't just leave it up to the hospital or your wife or someone else. Be there and ask questions. Always bring original photocopies of IDs, passports, supporting documents, and label everything clearly. Go to reputable hospitals and registrars' offices. Some government offices are more reliable and experienced than others when handling foreign nationals, and just handling things in general. What I wish I had done differently, especially looking back, I wish I had done one simple thing, and that is ask to see the birth certificate before it was submitted for registration. That 5-minute review could have saved me a year of stress, thousands of pesos, and all this trouble with the US Embassy. So to all you new expats or soon-to-be dads planning to raise a family here, don't take shortcuts. Don't assume anything. Get everything in writing and double-checked. Learn the system, or at least understand that there is no shortcuts through it. You can have an amazingly beautiful life here in the Philippines, but the legal and the bureaucratic side, you have to be on top of it. Otherwise, even the smallest thing can snowball. So with that being said, if you found value in this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Share this with anybody that's thinking of moving to the Philippines. And trust me, someone out there is going to be saved from making the same mistake I did by watching this video. And if you have a story of your own, you could be a Filipino, chime in the comments, whether it's about a birth certificate, visas, marriage licenses, or anything bureaucratic. Drop it in the comments. Let's talk and help each other out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.
Know you used to love me. I know you got some